welcome back to our show as we mark the first talk show of the day. As we know, we're now in the middle of the heat wave that occurred in several countries in Europe and also Asia recently. The Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Council, or known as BMKG, had released information on the ultraviolet index right here in Indonesia.
Yeah, some people associated the recent increasing UV index to heat waves, but BMKG stated that the UV light index fluctuations in Indonesia are not affected by heat waves.
Now, the UV index level lately has reached category red and purple, which means danger and extreme. Moreover, the high level UV index can damage our skin. Now we have in our studio a doctor this morning. He is dermatology and venereology residence, Faculty of Medicine, University of Indonesia, is here to explain more about how dangerous the high level of UV light, especially for our skin. So good morning to Dr. Aditya Indra Pratama. Thank you so much for joining us right here in our studio.
Yeah.
Hopefully this UV light is safe for us.
I don't think so. Is it safe, Doc?
We will talk about
that.
Okay.
Definitely we need to use our SPF though.
SPF,
right?
that's right. So speaking about the impact of the UV lights, the dangers of it, and the impact to our skin, basically it's very common things.
Right.
It's a basic things that most people have to understand, but we don't talk about this much.
Not often, right? Not more often.
All right. So as Carol mentioned earlier about the types of UV light, and each has a different effect to the skin. Can you explain more about that?
Okay. First of all, good morning. Thank you for having me here. It's been a nice opportunity. I can talk in this talk show. When we talk about UV, we have to know that there is several segments of the UV or UV family. There is UVA, UVB, and UVC.
Yeah.
They are like brothers and sisters.
Right.
Yeah? They have different wavelengths. That means they have different energy. The biggest one that they have the biggest energy is UVC, but thankfully to Allah that the ozone of the atmosphere filter the most of UVC.
Okay.
So the most abundant in our environment is UVA and UVB.
Okay.
Between them, UVB has bigger energy, so UVB has more biological effect to the skin compared to UVA. But UVA have longer wavelength. That means that UVA can penetrate more to our environment compared to the UVB. So in the indoor environment, we can see more of UVA compared to UVB.
UVB is in outside.
In outside,
Okay.
more common in outside compared to UVA.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so doctor, we were just mentioning before we begin this talk show that heat waves and climate change does affect, especially on the UV light. Now we're on danger and also extreme. How do you see the changes of these UV lights throughout years? It seems because we're experiencing the climate change again and whatnot, but again, coming here in Indonesia, people always think that it's been like this forever. There's no changes, not like
we live in a
Western
tropical country.
Right, so I think we're safe. Is that true? Is that fact or myth, Dr. Aditya?
Indonesia, we as an equator country, we often said that it's common.
It is. We live like this.
We live like this all the time.
Exactly.
Our ancestors not use SPF before.
Yes,
Sunscreen
that's
before.
right.
Why we have to use them now?
Yes.
We have to see that the climate change is a caution, or we have to be aware that we can see that today the UV index is higher. The UV index is a measurement tool of the UV energy around us. That nowadays the UV index in our country is higher compared to previous year, especially during this time of the year when we see a heat wave in the Lebaran holiday. Yesterday there is a change now. We must aware of this change because that means that we have to protect our skin more compared to before.
Yes.
The most easiest thing that we can do is we analyze this UV around us. Nowadays we have an app in our phone, our smartwatch, that we can see UV index in our environment. When we will have to be cautious of the UV around us. Usually when the UV index is low, as 1 or 2, we can do activities outside without any protection. It is the safest UV index. But usually in the morning at 7 or 8 p.m., the UV index have become more high.
Right.
between 3, 4, or 5.
Okay.
In this range of UV index, we have to be more aware, and we have to do a minimal protection. We can use minimally sunscreen.
Yes.
But we can still do our activities outside.
Okay.
But when the UV index is becoming high as 6, 7, or 8, we have to do extra things because the exposure of the UV is become bigger. We have to use added extra. Usually we can use a protective garment like using a hat minimally, or we can use umbrella.
Umbrella, yes.
That's very Asian of us.
Yeah. Or we
I used
can
to bring umbrella everywhere.
or can we do activities that not direct to the sunlight.
Right.
Yeah. Jadi when the UV index become higher to 10 or 11, the advice is you don't do anything outside.
Oh, you have to be on the shade if
the
you can,
shade,
right?
yeah.
If you have to be outdoors.
But usually around noon, in the midday, people like to go out,
Exactly.
have some drink,
Or they have to
lunch,
exactly,
Yes.
or probably they have to work outside.
Yeah.
Something that they cannot avoid, right?
We cannot avoid that. We have to do that extra protection.
Okay.
We have to use sunscreen. We have to use a protective garment.
Okay.
Umbrella. You can have any shade of using hat or using glasses. That's what we can do in this.
Right.
Okay.
situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Previously, that you are mentioning about the UVA and UVB, and then as we know that we are using a sunscreen as in our daily skin regime.
Yes. It's become a lifestyle, by the way, now,
Exactly.
right?
We
It's
have
part
to
of the
wearing.
routine.
So, can you elaborate about the effect effect to our skin if we are exposing by UVA, UVB, and what is the best sunscreen that we can use as a protection?
Okay. Like I mentioned before, UVA and UVB is like a brother and sister, but they have different effect, different energy. UVB with a higher energy, usually they can make a sudden effect to our skin. Usually when we do activity at the beach or we do swimming, there is an effect of the UVB. There is a sudden redness, usually between hours to days after the exposure to the sun. It is usually caused by UVB type sunburn. Or UVA, they have less energy, but they can change the skin to pigmentation. Your skin will become more darker, usually between weeks to months after exposure and daylight. Both of them is immediate effect of the sun, of the UV, but there is a long-term effect because of both UVA and UVB have energy, and they can be absorbed in the skin by, as doctor usually call it chromophore. It is usually DNA or it is a melanocyte cell of the skin. They can damage the DNA. But thankfully, in our body, there is a mechanism, protective mechanism that can repair the damage from the UVA and the UVB. But if you give stress to your skin more than they're capable to do the fixation, it can accumulate in the in the long run, becoming more serious condition, where there is premature aging or more serious condition like a skin cancer.
Oh wow! And the use of the sunscreen, doc.
The use of sunscreen in Indonesia Society of Dermatology and Venenologists, there is recommendation of using minimal 30 SPF before doing activities. When to use it, based on latest clinical research, it is more effective to use it 15 to 20 minutes before doing activities outside. The most usually I talk to my patient because there is a wide range of sunscreens today, because sunscreen have to be your lifestyle, not a one-time thing.
Of course.
You can
we can skip using the sunscreen. Exactly.
Jadi you have to see it as a daily need. So I like to talk to my patient that you have to pick one that you can most adhere the most comfortable for you.
Okay.
Start with the lowest
SPF,
out of
like
SPF,
30.
like 30. You found the right one, then you can gradually upgrade.
Okay.
Because it goes up to, I'm using 60, again, as I said to you, but it's not sold right here in Indonesia, but it's not common right here in Indonesia. And then what about the PA+++? Is that something that we need to also be concerned, or we need to look for a product that has the PA++?
Yeah. The sunscreen, PA+++ is given more protection compared when not using PA+++. But we have to see that we want to sunscreen as a daily need, because sunscreen that have more protective effects usually cost higher.
Yeah. And it's very thick, by the way.
Very thick. They have different formulation.
Correct.
That
Like a
has
white
to stabilize.
White cast.
And as I did say, tadi cosmetic problem, they have white cast. So if you can tolerate it, you can use it daily.
Yes.
You can use the more expensive one for better protection, actually.
Right. So it's good for you.
Yeah, it is better for you. But as I mentioned before, if you haven't used any, it's better to use the lowest one, the most you're comfortable with. Then you can gradually increase which one that you can.
For a newbie. So let me ask you this, though, Dr. Aditya. Some people don't understand the 30, the 40, the 45, the 50, and 60 on the SPF. What does it mean?
Okay, usually when producers make an sunscreen, they use SPF as measurement tool. How strong is their product is. So the SPF is the capability of the sunscreen to reduce erythema or redness after exposure to the sun. Jadi the stronger the SPF, the stronger the capability of the sunscreen to minimize or to prevent the redness of the skin after exposure to the sun.
So it's let's say SPF 30, so it's a 30% protection. Once you're hit by
protection compared to not using.
I see.
As the number go higher, it is more protection.
Because we saw there are 75 even. 75 SPF for super hot or probably extreme weather, but it's not available here in Indonesia. Probably we don't really need it. But as you mentioned earlier, for probably those of you who never tried to use the sunscreen, please do, because it's very important. Start from a lower SPF, like 30. Minimal, that is minimum is 30, but you can gradually increase it. So, Doctor, Carol asked you previously about the lights here in our studio. Is it the same exposure like a sunlight, or it's different, or it's dangerous as well?
Do we still need protection?
Exactly. Can you please explain to us?
When we see lights, actually all of the lights have a wavelength and have energy.
Correct.
So different kind of lights have a different kind of energy and also different kind of effect. When we say, we should not use protection because it's artificial light in the inside, it's kind of wrong, because their skill can have energy that can affect our skin. And usually, if too much exposure, it's linked to detrimental effect to the skin.
All right, so it's still effective, especially with all these lights going on. So if you think that, oh, you know, I do my activities almost 70% inside a room or indoors, this is something that you still need to use your SPF and to protect yourself. You were saying though before, Doc, you know, to Shafir and I, the danger side if you don't protect your skin with this UV lights. But what's the benefits? Because especially when we're babies are, always the doctors told them to be outside before 9 o'clock or 9 a.m. in the morning because they need the sun. Is there any positive with this UV lights?
Talking about sunbathing, usually there is during COVID, there is recommendation to do sunbathing to increase our level of vitamin D, because there is research that most Indonesian people have lower level of vitamin D.
Correct.
But we have to do sunbathing with appropriate time and appropriate amount.
Okay.
What is appropriate time and appropriate amount? we have to do it at appropriate time when the UV index is beneficial for us, but do not do harm for us.
Okay.
Yeah, usually it's between 9 a.m. You can do sunbathing.
Right.
The duration is usually when you're starting, you can do between 5 minutes at the first time.
Okay.
At the first time, you do 5 minutes, and you can gradually increase to 15 minutes. But you have to be aware, if you do sunbathing and there is redness,
Yes.
you feel there is itchy after sunbathing, you have to stop
Okay.
and do it in a shorter duration.
All
yeah?
right.
But if you can tolerate it, you can do it to maximum 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we do sunbathing, usually we want to expose us only a portion of our skin.
Right.
Okay.
Usually in the leg and the arm. Yeah. We want to still protect our face
Yeah.
or neck.
Yes.
So you do have to use a hat, or you still have to.
I wrap all my head.
You
Okay.
still have to use sunscreen
Oh,
on
yeah.
your
Of
face
course.
and the neck.
Oh,
and the body.
okay.
Yeah, and it's also very important, I think, people to understand that you need to use your SPF not only on your face,
Yeah.
but throughout your body, right?
Body,
Sometimes
exactly.
people are just only concerned to their face,
Yeah.
but not the neck area,
is very
your
important
hands
too.
and whatnot. Where's it
Exactly.
showing your skin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every part of the skin that exposed to the sun, it have to be given protection,
Protection.
whether you want to use garment or you want to use sunscreen.
All right.
So is there any probably information about what is the correct amount of UV light to our skin?
Correct amount?
Yes.
Okay. When we want, like I discussed before, we don't need too much of UV actually to increase our level of vitamin D. Based on the research, the most effective vitamin D level increase is found in the low heat and low level of exposure to UV. Yeah?
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that you do sunbathing in
All day long.
all day long or in the noon
you know,
when
Sometimes
you
when you're
I
body,
save up.
that's what happens.
I save up.
it doesn't mean you have high level
okay.
of vitamin D,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
you have to do, like I said before, you have to do it at appropriate time and appropriate amount.
Right, and just a very one question, Doc. How many times do you need to apply your SPF?
Oh.
Let's say for someone that's going to the office, they do their makeup at 6 or 7. What time they need to apply their SPF again?
Okay. When we are using sunscreen, we want the sunscreen to be on our skin all day long.
Okay.
But usually when we do activities like we sweat, the sunscreens will disappear.
Yes.
Or remove for our skin.
Right.
Or we do, for Muslim do wudu,
Yes.
to remove this sunscreen. So usually we advise to our patient that to do our sunscreen between 3 to 4 hours to
3 to 4
apply.
hours. Okay.
There you
Based
go.
on the research, applying UV protection or sunscreen every 3 hours have more steady level of decrease in side effect of UV compared to using it once daily.
Yeah, because sometimes people think I did it only in the morning. It's going to
And,
protect
all
me the
right,
whole
I'm gonna
day.
keep it for all day.
I know.
Cannot. You have to-
Reapply.
Most importantly, you have to apply it before you going outside.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially in the noon.
15 to 20 minutes before you go outside.
Yes, please don't
There you
skip
go.
your
Don't skip, you have
sunscreen.
to use it.
Not just not only for a woman, but men as
course.
well.
Children.
Children too.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
Probably we can have a tips for you to select a proper sunscreen, especially for kids.
Yeah. There is several type of sunscreen. Usually there is organic and inorganic. The difference is in organic, there is no chemical reaction. They're based on they're making a barrier, physical barrier in our skin. So they are less irritative or less side
Right.
effect like contact dermatitis compared to using the organic one. But usually the inorganic sunscreen, there is side effect, usually cosmetical, which is there is a white cast.
Oh yeah.
There is a white cast, which is for some people is
Not
also
comfortable.
Comfortable,
Exactly.
yeah. Jadi you can use usually for baby or pregnant woman with minimal chemical.
Oh.
Yes.
We use the inorganic one because they not causing any reaction on our skin.
Yes.
They only make like a skin protective layer.
Okay.
And my boys, they're very hard to use the SPF because they're like, Mommy, it's just too oily. I have white everywhere. I'm like, no, you're going to use it, like it or not.
Because it's important.
It is.
Thank you
very
so much, Doctor.
Aditya.
Thank you so much.
for
All
having
right,
me.
now we know.
Exactly.
I'm so confident about using my sunscreen.
We always bring our SPF everywhere.
Exactly. I'm so proud that we know about the importance of having a sunscreen. Now we're more aware about to having the right sunscreen to protect ourselves from UVA, UVB, but something that something that we cannot avoid.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
All right, let's take a break, but we will have more updates from around the world when we return. Stay with us.